everyone, you are on the Let's Talk Mummy show today, and we're doing another month of Bloggers Inside. We are here with the lovely Katie.
Hello.
From Mommy, Daddy and me. Thank you for being my guest, Katie.
Thank you for having me.
And Katie's going to share some knowledge of photographing your children with us today, because we all want to know all the good advice and tips. So Katie, why don't you tell a little bit about your blog and your family to get started?
So my blog's Mummy, Daddy, Me. I've been writing it for almost, well, it will be 4 years very, very soon. I started it when my little girl, Mads, was born. And yeah, it's just a blog about family life, but it's got a very big emphasis on the visual aspects, so the photos and the video and things. So.
Oh, brilliant. Did you have a passion for photography before you started your blog, or did it kind of mould with your blog when you started your blog?
I've always been very into photography. I was always the one, you know, at uni that always had the camera to record it for drunken nights out and things, and I always...
The selfie.
Yeah, I think I invented the selfie. But I always loved taking photos, but it's kind of... When, excuse me, when Mads was born, that was when I really sort of started to get into taking it, and then I found my blog, and obviously that's when I wanted to learn more about it and sort of get more into the, you know, getting more into it and sort of things like that. So yeah.
So it leads into my next question. When you started your blog and getting into photography, did you stay with auto, or did you think I'm just going to plunge in and go to manual?
I did. For ages, when I first started my blog, I just used my iPhone. Then I kind of got invested into it. I'd always had a DSLR, but I hadn't really, it had been kind of sort of shoved under the bed and I hadn't really used it that much. And then I got it out and sort of started playing with it. And I think probably after about 6 months, that was when I started to kind of get more into manual. So now I completely shoot in manual. I'll only ever use auto if perhaps it's really, really dark light and I just can't be bothered to try and figure it out. That's the only other time I'll use auto, but yeah, now it's completely manual.
Manual. Do you think, like when you're photographing your girls, do you ever think in terms of styling or have an image that you want to capture, or you just work around the girls and kind of just more candid pictures?
I kind of, yeah, it's more like my girls are now at the age there. My eldest actually will start to pose, but when you ask her to pose, it's kind of really... like she doesn't do a good pose, and the youngest is just getting into that age where she just wants to run away at any opportunity. So I do generally just kind of photograph them more, you know, as they're playing or as they're doing stuff, and I actually do kind of prefer that. I do love a
you are famous for the garage, so was that an idea, or did it kind of just evolve into this is what we do? It
was a funny one actually, because Mads, she one day wanted to like pose in front of the garage because she was wearing a top that she really loved, and then I sort of thought it would be a nice thing to do to sort of take, but they're just iPhone pictures, but just take a picture, and that's actually the one time that they will enjoy. They will pose for that, but other, you know, if you then ask them to stand in the middle of the room and pose, they wouldn't. They just like that. It's a bit of a weird one, but
yeah, but it's good though when your kids want to work into it and it's part of their life then. Yeah, so it's not so hard. Yeah, because you don't want it to become something they hate.
It is a bit of a weird, like I think people might think it's really strange, but they do run out of the house and like to go and take a picture there.
Yeah. To be honest, mine to do it because it's so
cute. Yeah,
it is cute. What's 3 main tips you'd give people when they're photographing young children?
I think probably get down to their level. So, you know, it's rather than sort of shoot above them, it's best to sort of get down and sort of do it that way. I think don't worry, you're never going to get, you know, photographing young children. You're never going to, it's never, you know, actually the nicest photos are the ones that are the unposed ones. So don't worry too much about getting it perfectly. And yeah, just have fun, because obviously, you know, it's your family. You just want to, you know, it's not...
capture the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Capture the moment.
As a theme.
Yeah, exactly.
So do you think when people are starting their blog, you think iPhones are just as good as cameras sometimes for blogs?
Definitely.
I mean, everyone thinks they have to have more.
I think sometimes people are really sort of hung up on the fact that they need to have a good camera or they need to whatever, but actually sometimes I'll see blogs and I'll be like, gosh, those photos are beautiful, and then at the end it will say this is on my iPhone, and I know people have said that to me, like I do a thing on my blog where it's just iPhone photos, and people will say, oh, I didn't realise, you wouldn't think that they'd be, so I don't think, you know, iPhones are so good nowadays. I don't think, you know, if you really want to get into photography, then yes, of course you should have a good camera, but you know, iPhones are just as good, especially in the beginning.
Especially social media, it's easier, I find.
And it's so nice
downloading it and trying to put it on Instagram or Twitter.
Like iPhones, you know, I love my DSLR, but it's so nice just having a camera I don't take my DSLR out in the week very much at all anymore because it's just so nice to be able to just have something in your pocket that you can just grab.
Just put it in your pocket.
Definitely.
Grab it if you're doing something cute.
Exactly. So yeah, of course, you know, you can't beat the quality of a DSLR, but I think iPhones are amazing. I'd still say probably my iPhone's my favourite camera just because it's Instagram as well, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely. And besides, like when your kids are doing something cute, you can't just run and go get your DSLR, do the settings.
I think you get, and I think a lot of people say that, don't they, that you get more you get better, you get more in the moment shots and more natural shots with an iPhone because
you can just
grab it. Whereas especially if you shoot in manual, you know, you have to set up the shot and it's not quite so.
Change it down
and you'll take a picture and it'll be way too dark or way too.
Your kids are gone then. Like, see ya.
No, so yeah.
So, what would you say is your ultimate favourite photo of all time for your kids?
I'd say I've got lots, but I'd say the main one is I've got one, and it's actually bizarrely in my bathroom on the shelf, but I've got one of my littlest daughter, and when it was in colour, it was just, we were just in our living room and I just took a picture of her, and it's of her eyelashes, but when it's in colour, it just does not look like a special photo at all, but I converted it into black and white and it's now just beautiful because she's obviously got these long eyelashes, and like, I think if I had to say one, that would be my favourite.
Yeah. I always love that. Black and white can give so much more to a photo. It can be nothing.
Exactly.
And then it really changes the entire photo.
Sometimes there's been so many times that I've taken a photo and thought, that's not that good. But then when you change it into black and white, there's something like really, and I think as well for like emotional photos and for portraits, like black and white is really nice.
I always find too, if you take some on your iPhone and they're a bit grainy, black and white kind of helps that.
And again,
so it's like nice
everyday photos sometimes where you've got loads of clutter in the background, and like if you can convert it to black and white, it can end up looking nice, whereas the colour one, and as well, black and white's a good tip for if you've got, you know, if it's nighttime and you've got horrible spotlights, or you've got, do you know what I mean? Like it's sometimes nicer to convert it so you don't have the harsh.
Fixes all of that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
No, I definitely love black and white.
Yeah, me too.
Would you have any advice for beginners starting out on blogs? I know they always get wrapped up into being so perfect, and with young children you can't always have that, especially babies.
I don't know, I think just practice, and you know, don't necessarily always practice on your little one, practice on like still things that don't move around, and
I do have a lot. Practice with food.
Cakes and just practice, and like, you know, take lots. Like, I think people get hung up on, you know, you'll see a blog post and there'll be 7 photos on there and they'll be like, gosh, those photos are so lovely, but you don't realise that I probably took 30 photos to get those. I was going to ask you, do you have to take a range of photos before you pick a few good ones? Especially if you're shooting in manual, and especially because kids move so much, you do have to like
have bloopers.
Take lots in order, you know. I may get one good one and there'll be 10 blurry ones before that, so don't get hung up, you know. I think it's very easy to compare yourself to other people, and actually we're all the same. We've all probably taken so many photos to get that. No one's perfect and does these amazing.
Just one catch.
Yeah, exactly.
I think people think that's attainable though, and it's not.
Yeah, no,
especially with children.
I mean, like, you know, food and stuff, it's a bit different, isn't it? But with kids, it's impossible to.
Do you have little tricks that you do with your children, like maybe a little bribe or a fun game?
Or definitely. I must admit, I've done bribes in the past, but I think like one thing, like a really silly tip I have is that with Mads, what I do is it's a stupid trick, but I will get her to, I'll say, look, there's a Gruffalo in the lens, and so if I want to get one of those close-up like portrait kind of shots, I'll say, look, the Gruffalo's in the lens, and then I'll quickly pull the camera back and go, oh no, it isn't, and she laughs, and that's how I get.
Because it's a natural laugh. Yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah, so it's just a silly thing, and like, you know, she'll look in the lens. As she gets a bit bigger, obviously, she might not be able to do that so much.
And I think it's the child too, what works tricking them. I always go, look, there's a bird, or, you know, like, look over there. We take part in the Me and Mine family photos each month, and one tip we found recently is that I've got a small remote control, and I don't actually use it, like it broke and I haven't used it for years, so I run back and forth with my tripod. But what I do is I give Mads the remote, so she thinks she's doing it, so she's not actually doing it, but they're like, Maddie, can you press, Mads, can you press it? And so she'll press it, and she'll think she's taking the photo. And that's what I always like, trying to get them involved in it and it's fun for them, because I never want it to be like a burden on them. Or they'd be like, Mom's camera's out again.
I know, and you don't want them to be like that, so.
Oh no, those are great tips, thank you. Well, I appreciate you being my guest, and I hope you've all learned as much as I have from the beautiful Katie.
Thank you.
And bye for now.
Bye.